Man, it's a good time to be a Lions fan. And it's not just us that know it. Like everybody is starting to hop on the bandwagon. Do we want them? But everybody's starting to hop on the bandwagon. And most recently, a guy over at Fantasy Pros, and his name is Thor. No, not the God of Thunder. All right. While I'm sure he's very good at ranking undrafted free agents, he is not a Marvel superhero, but a guy named Thor, and his name here, you can see it on this article, Thor Nystrom. This is over at Pride of Detroit. At Fantasy Pros, has been ranking UDFA classes for years, and 2023 is no exception. He is a big fan of the Lions set of players, ranking Detroit's UDFA class fourth among all NFL teams. So, why does this matter? I think the public has a tendency to overvalue undrafted free agents. I think they do. I think if players were good enough to be drafted, generally they would get drafted. But at the same time, I want to give you some names. Can I do that for you? AJ Parker, Jerry Jacobs, Brock Wright, Tommy Kramer. Do we know these guys? There's also guys that are still on the roster. Guys like Greg Bell. Now, we know he suffered an injury in training camp last year, wasn't able to play. Tight end Derek Deese Jr. and offensive tackle Obina Eze. These are all undrafted free agents. I would expect the Detroit Lions to have a phenomenal undrafted free agent class last year and the year before. Why? Because the team was not talented. And even if we were talented at the top end, we were not deep. So here's the difference between being drafted and being an unrestricted or a UDFA. Sorry. A UDFA gets to choose where they go. Now, are there ways teams can persuade them to come to their team? Yes, it's called money. Show me the money, right? Like that's the way it works. We all learned that from Jerry Maguire, and it holds true today. But there are a ton of undrafted free agents, UDFAs, that go to teams and they don't get any guaranteed money or a signing bonus or anything like that. Most teams have about somewhere between 200,000 and $500,000 set aside to give to a few different undrafted free agents, and then that's it. The Lions didn't spend a large amount of money on them this year, yet many of them chose to come to Detroit. So who are they? Where are they ranked? And how did this God of Thunder, just kidding, this guy who ranks for Fantasy Pros, which, by the way, I use for a lot of my fantasy stuff. This is not a paid advertisement for Fantasy Pros. I wish it was. Fantasy Pros, if you want me to promote, I use your stuff. So feel free to give me a call if you're watching this and we can get something worked out. But Nystrom has rankings, and what he does is he ranks the top 300 players in every class. Of those top 300 players, the Lions were able to get 5 different undrafted free agents that are in the top 300. In other words, worthy of being drafted. And the highest ranked one was a guy named Starling Thomas, the 5th, out of UAB. Yeah, UAB. Remember that program? That was a program, and then they had to cut their athletic program. Then a few years later, they were a program again. Not a terrible team either. He had him ranked 146th. That's a 5th round grade. That's not bad. Other top UDFAs were running back Mohamed Ibrahim. Chris did a video on him. Ibrahim, if you watch Big Ten basketball, what am I talking about? Football, dude is solid. It was fun to watch him. I believe he either tore his Achilles or his ACL. I don't remember what one it was. He played for the Gophers of Minnesota. Hey, and sorry, no offense to anybody who is from the UP in Michigan or Minnesota or even parts of Wisconsin. The accent came out. I apologize. I'm from Michigan. I feel like I'm allowed to use it. I live in Michigan. I feel like I'm allowed to use it. Anyways, let's move on. Brandon Joseph was rated 212. Offensive tackle Ryan Swoboda, 263. And the other offensive tackle, Connor Galvin, 295. the chances of these guys making the team are not huge. Let's not burst the bubble here. Sorry, I guess I should say sorry if I burst the bubble, but I would expect a couple of these guys unexpectedly to make it. Starling Thomas was a standout in rookie minicamp. We heard a lot about him, that he was sticky in coverage, that he was standing out, that he has a good mentality, a good work ethic, understands the game well. Like, these are the things that we heard about him already. Offensive line depth. There is room to fight for a spot there. There really is. And so the idea that you might be able to get on this roster as a swing tackle or even a backup tackler, moving the guard, it could happen. It could happen. So when we say that UDFAs are overvalued by the public, I think here's what that means. We expect UDFAs every year. We expect a UDFA to be starting for our team. I don't know if that's a reasonable expectation as the team gets better. Usually that would mean something went wrong. Oh, well, Craig, hold on. What about AJ Parker? Exactly. AJ Parker was our starting nickel cornerback when we went 3-13-1. I just want to be clear on that. Well, Craig, what about Jerry Jacobs? There's your point. I will buy that one. Jerry Jacobs has proven to be at least a third, fourth cornerback caliber, able to start. He plays hard. He plays well. Well, Craig, what about Brock Wright? Okay, again, is Brock Wright the go-to plan? Are you comfortable with Brock Wright being your best tight end? Or did you just draft a tight end, Sam Laporta? Brock Wright's a good football player. Here's what I'm saying. UDFAs can absolutely be valuable. If you're doing it the right way, you have multiple UDFAs that make your team because they work hard. They are great special teams players, and they are really good backups that can play well in a pinch if they have to start. Guys like Jerry Jacobs, guys like Brock Wright. These are the guys that we are talking about that we can get. But again, every year teams are allowed, is it 15? Is it 15? Is it 16, 17, 18? It's somewhere in that range. But let's even go on the low end. Every year teams are allowed 15 UDFAs. Of those 15, let's say 30 UDFAs, 3 saw playing time. One of them's already out, AJ Parker. One of them is still competing, Jerry Jacobs. And so is Brock Wright, the tight end. So 2 out of 30. We're going to get excited about UDFAs. We're going to talk them up. Who knows? I still think Obina Eze has a chance. But please don't think 6 of these guys are going to make the team and 2 or 3 of them are going to start. That's not the way it goes. But they can create depth. They can be awesome practice squad players that can become backup special teams caliber players later. And they're extremely important to getting good players in this so that your team and your starting units get good practice. So it is important. All right. If you like the video, hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you as part of this community. Leave a comment below. And guess what? See you on the next one.